Tell me, do you still believe me to be an unworthy opponent? I will throw away my pride, honor, everything to defeat you. Consider it a sign of respect, lad. Shoot style. St. Louis.
Hello everybody, Megazord X here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting episode review over My Hero Academia. And this time I'm going to review an episode 85 called School Festival Star. And if y'all already watched my episode 84 review of My Hero Academia, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner, check that video, and then come back over and hop over and watch this one though. And I got to say with this one, oh shoot, yes, man, this is pretty much the peak, or you could say the climax of where this whole entire arc was sort of kind of leading to, with the encounter between Izuku as well as Gentle, with a little assistance from La Brava, in terms of them clashing and trying to, you know, relay basically the emotions and the stuff that's kind of pinned up in their heart of the reason why Izuku is, you know, fighting to be a hero, and while Gentle on the other hand is fighting to be a villain. We get to understand and feel why exactly did he turn to this sort of kind of weird but, you know, sort of kind of odd little occupation of being a villain, but a YouTube villain. So we finally get to see the backstory behind this one though, and I got quite a bit of stuff to say about this episode though. But overall, this was a very bittersweet episode. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this episode review over My Hero Academia. One question that always sat in the background of My Hero Academia's setting is just why, in a world full of superhero crime stoppers, anyone would bother turning to the life of a supervillain. The series has occasionally broached the topic with characters like Twice and Magne, people who didn't quite fit the structures of the superhero or even just a regular human society that the heroes of the past and present have built. They aren't evil or malicious people, but the world they live in rejected or demonized them until fighting against it was their only option. Gentle and La Brava's reasons for becoming YouTube criminals isn't quite as heavy, but as their backstories unfold across their fight with Izuku, it becomes clearer why they dedicated themselves to it so deeply. First is La Brava, who became a shut-in after overhearing her middle school crush cruelly mocked her love letter. That might seem like a questionable reaction, but after her quirk, Love, is revealed, it makes a lot of sense. Being open with her feelings is literally her superpower, so to have them not just rejected, but derided by the person she cared about, likely, felt like a rejection of who she is as a person. In that context, it's not surprising that she ended up becoming obsessed with an offbeat personality like Gentle and his dramatic assertions of being a gentleman never do well out to become a digital Robin Hood. The point, though, was that Gentle accepted her feelings, even if he didn't strictly respond to her love in the same way. That validation and care meant more than anything, and to acknowledge recontextualizes her seemingly goofy devotion from past episodes in a big way. Gentle, for his part, has a decidedly messier motivation. As an inspiring and failing hero in training, he proclaimed he'd get his name in the history books, but a misguided attempt to save someone in an emergency ended up impeding the heroes trying to do the same and got someone seriously injured. The fallout left him an outcast, destitute and rejected by his family, but the kicker was running into a former schoolmate who did become a pro hero, only for them to have no recollection of him. The final blow to his pride was what pushed him to become a villain, but as the fight with Deku plays out, it becomes clear that reason for Gentle's escapades eventually stop being one of pride, but one of love. Labrava loves him and wants him to succeed. Thus, for him to fail would be to trample on her feelings, and that is something he refuses to do. The portrait these two stories paint is a surprisingly sympathetic one in the end. Gentle and Labrava are two wounded people who found what they were looking for in one another. And as far as petty as their YouTube infamy might seem in comparison to the larger scale conflicts of My Hero Academia, it means the world to both of them. So it's genuinely a little heartbreaking to see them beaten, even as Deku has reasons just as important to stop them after weeks of stewing in doubt. This fight for him is one to reclaim his confidence as All Might's successor. Letting Gentle through would demoralize his classmates, destroy the work that they thrown themselves into, and rip a chance at normalcy from Eri's grip just as she is reaching out for it. But all those reasons don't make it feel any better when protecting them means crushing the hopes of someone else. The actual brawl against Gentle is far from a vicious one, though it has some nice animation and some clever attacks. But I believe Izuku when he says Gentle was harder to fight than anyone he faced before. And while that might not be as hard as, like a physical fist fight, with him though, just the emotions of what was actually going on and him actually being able to relate with the so-called villain and knowing that he wasn't too much off from him. If some things were to go the wrong direction for Izuku, he could literally have been just the same as Gentle could have been the same as Izuku. And this kid knows what it feels like to lose a dream you wanted with all your heart, but preserving his own necessarily means doing that to somebody else. And that is pretty much it for this episode review. So overall, man, this was a really bittersweet episode. And honestly, the fight actually, for the little snippets of what we got to see of, Zuko brawling against Gentle like that though, it was really cool though. But it was more so portraying and showcasing the backstory between Labrava and Labrava's, man, that was really sad and disappointing though. But Gentle actually hit a whole lot harder in terms of him, he really honestly wanted to be a hero at the end of the day though, but because of this superhero society and the way how it's sort of kind of structured, it just didn't suit him the best, because he wasn't just able to pass his classes or whatnot though. So it is really unfortunate to have a potentially just a really positive potential superhero out like this, and because things just didn't work out, he just couldn't be able to accept the role and be able to obtain that hero role. So it is really bittersweet though. And that's pretty much all I have to say on this episode review though. But let me know down in the comment section down below, what all did you think about this episode? Did the backstory between Gentle and Labrava really hit you in the heartstrings, and the way how Izuku was able to sort of kind of relate with these villains more so than any other villain that he fought in the past? And just let me know what all you thought about this episode down in the comment section down below though. But that is all that I have for y'all for this week's episode review over My Hero Academia. So if you really like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and that bell to keep up to date on all things My Hero Academia. With the final confrontation against Gentle concluded, Izuku rushes back to UA full steam ahead. Izuku, along with the rest of his classmates, make their final touches on their performance. Will Class 1A manage to wow the attendees and place a smile on Eri's face? We'll have to find out about this and more in next week's episode review called Let It Flow School Festival. So remember y'all, until whatever video I make next, go beyond. Past Ultra!